The morning in Dreamdale rose with a shimmering softness, as if the entire landscape had been painted with a brush dipped in golden light and quiet hopes, and the breeze drifting through the dream house carried the gentle rustle of flower petals waking from their night's rest, brushing against the windows like a whisper that something beautiful was waiting to unfold. And Barbie, lying beneath her pastel pink blankets, felt the warmth of the sun gently settle across her cheek as though it knew she would need its comfort today, stirring her awake with the promise of a delicate adventure she had not yet imagined, and her eyes fluttered open slowly, meeting the calm glow of her room, the soft shadows stretching across her vanity, the faint sparkle of her crystal-trimmed curtains, all of it composing a quiet symphony that eased her into the morning with a breath so light it barely seemed real. And as she stretched, her heartbeat fluttered with a soft, sweet nervousness she couldn't quite explain but didn't want to push away, because deep inside she knew this day, this morning, felt different. The kind of different that makes your chest warm and your thoughts drift towards someone who has quietly become more important to you than you realized. And as Barbie rose from her bed and stepped toward her balcony doors, she paused for only a second before pulling them open, letting the sunlight spill across her features like a soft embrace, and her breath caught gently when she looked across the garden and saw Ken standing near the rose archway, his hair catching the light like strands of honey, his expression calm yet thoughtful, as if he too was listening to the melody of the morning and trying to understand why it felt so hopeful. And Barbie couldn't stop the small smile that touched her lips, the kind that rises without permission, born from emotion rather than thought. And as she stepped outside, the breeze lifting her hair, Ken lifted his gaze at the exact same moment, and when their eyes met, something soft and warm passed between them, a silent greeting deeper than words, a recognition that they were both stepping into a day shaped by something delicate and unspoken. And Ken, exhaling softly as if gathering courage from the morning sun itself, walked slowly toward the dreamhouse path, his hands brushing lightly against the roses as though grounding himself in their gentle presence. And Barbie, feeling her heartbeat warm her all the way to her fingertips, made her way down the stairs with a grace she didn't try to hide, her steps soft, unhurried, as if savoring each moment leading her closer to him. And when they finally stood before each other, surrounded by the blossoming colors of Dreamdale's enchanted garden, Ken greeted her with a warm, slightly nervous smile that softened the air around them, and Barbie returned it with one that carried genuine affection, the kind that tells a person without saying a word, "I'm happy to be here with you." And in that golden, sunlit moment, the day truly began. Ken hesitated only slightly before asking if she wanted to explore Dreamdale with him, really explore, beyond the usual familiar paths, perhaps discovering new places and sharing the kind of quiet moments that stay in the memory long after sunset fades. And Barbie's heart fluttered as she said yes with a warmth that grew in her chest like a rising tide of soft light. And together they began walking toward the meadow path that shimmered beneath the stretch of morning sun, the flowers glowing in colors that looked almost dreamlike. And as they stepped into the open field, the tall blossoms brushed gently against Barbie's skirt, and the scent of jasmine, sweet and airy, filled the breeze, wrapping around them as they walked side by side, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from each other but not quite touching, a distance that hummed softly with possibility, with the awareness that something between them was slowly, tenderly shifting. And every now and then, Barbie would glance at Ken, her eyes filled with a mixture of curiosity and something deeper she didn't yet know how to name, while Ken tried to steady his breaths every time he caught a glimpse of her smile, the smile that made him feel both calm and breathless at the same time. And as they moved through the meadow, they found a pathway that led into the whispering woods, where the tall trees swayed gently in the soft wind, their leaves shimmering in filtered sunlight like tiny fragments of gold, casting dappled patterns across the ground that made the entire forest feel softly alive. And as they stepped beneath the cool shade of the canopy, the vibrant sounds of Dreamdale softened into a peaceful hush, the kind of hush that makes the world feel smaller, safer, more intimate. And Barbie let out a quiet breath of awe as she looked around, brushing her fingers lightly along the moss-covered bark of a tree, feeling the cool texture beneath her hand. And Ken watched her with a fondness so deep it filled his chest like a warm wave, but he quickly looked away when she turned toward him, pretending to admire the shifting patterns of sunlight above them, though inside he felt a swirling mix of nerves and wonder, because being near her like this, just the two of them, surrounded by quiet beauty, felt more meaningful than he had expected. They walked deeper into the woods, talking about the things that usually stayed tucked inside the heart. Barbie shared stories of how Dreamdale still amazed her no matter how long she lived there, how she dreamed of creating a lakeside art studio filled with soft colors and gentle music, a place where people could come to paint, breathe, and feel inspired. And Ken listened with an attentiveness that made Barbie feel cherished, in a way she rarely felt with anyone else, while Ken confessed his own quiet dreams, how he wanted to build something meaningful in Dreamdale, something peaceful, maybe something surrounded by nature, where he could help others feel at ease. And Barbie, touched by the honesty in his voice, felt her heart swell with a gentle admiration she didn't try to hide. When they reached a small stream cutting through the woods, Barbie hesitated at the uneven stones, and Ken instinctively offered his hand, not assertively, not with expectations. As the sun continued climbing over the shimmering horizon and the gentle breeze carried with it the scent of blooming coastal flowers, Barbie, Skipper, Stacy, and Chelsea found themselves walking deeper into the mysterious cove, feeling an unusual but comforting warmth glowing in the air as though the atmosphere itself carried traces of gentle magic intertwined with the soft whispers of waves brushing against ancient rocks. And as they ventured forward, Barbie instinctively tightened her grip on the folded map they had discovered earlier, its symbols glowing faintly, as if sensing that the sisters were finally moving in the right direction toward the secret that had been hidden for generations. A secret that only those with pure intentions and united hearts could uncover. And as they reached a wide-open clearing surrounded by smooth, moon-like stones arranged naturally in a perfect spiral, Skipper paused first, lowering her camera slowly while whispering that this place didn't look ordinary at all. It looked chosen, as though nature itself had shaped this space for something extraordinary to happen. While Stacy, almost unable to hold still, stepped forward with bright eyes examining the spiral formation and pointing out that each stone carried carvings similar to the markings on the ancient map. And Chelsea, being the smallest yet often the wisest in unexpected ways, gently touched one of the stones and gasped softly when it responded to her touch with a warm pulse of golden light that spread from stone to stone until the entire spiral glowed like a living constellation under the daylit sky, prompting Barbie to step closer with her heart pounding, not from fear but from deep curiosity and excitement, as she could feel something greater awakening beneath the ground, something calling them forward. And suddenly, a soft rumble echoed through the clearing as the spiral of glowing stones began slowly sinking into the earth, revealing a smooth crystal staircase illuminated by turquoise lights that danced like water reflections, leading down into what looked like a hidden sanctuary untouched by time. And though the sight was breathtaking, Barbie turned to her sisters to ensure they all felt safe before they proceeded, each of them nodding eagerly because even though they didn't know what awaited them, they trusted each other completely. So they stepped down the crystal staircase together, their footsteps echoing rhythmically until they reached a vast underground chamber where the ceiling sparkled like the night sky. And at the chamber's center stood an ancient pedestal holding a radiant orb swirling with vibrant colors that moved like auroras trapped inside glass. And as they approached the orb, a gentle humming filled the chamber, almost like a distant melody welcoming them. And Barbie extended her hand slowly, feeling warmth radiating from the orb, as though it recognized her presence. And the moment her fingers brushed the surface, a burst of light filled the chamber, surrounding the sisters in a cocoon of shimmering magic that lifted them slightly off the ground. And within the light, visions appeared, visions of ancient protectors, sisters like them, chosen across time to safeguard harmony in the cove and preserve its hidden wonders from falling into the wrong hands. And the visions revealed that the orb was known as the heart of the cove, a magical core that kept balance, beauty, and mystery alive. And now it had chosen Barbie and her sisters to be its new guardians, not to control the magic but to protect its legacy and ensure its existence continued to inspire generations. And as the visions faded, the light gently lowered the sisters back to the crystal floor where they stood breathless, forever changed. And Barbie, heart full and eyes shining, turned to her sisters and said that this journey wasn't just an adventure, it was a calling, one that they would honor together with courage, kindness, and unity. And the sisters agreed wholeheartedly, feeling stronger than ever, knowing that their bond wasn't just sisterhood, it was destiny shaped by love, trust, and belief in one another. As the chamber brightened with soft golden waves that wrapped around them like a blessing, marking the beginning of their new role as guardians of the cove's most precious secret,